Nadja Bresson is a biomechanical engineer and professor at the Faculty of Sustainable Design Engineering at UPEI. She is very passionate towards teaching, but her career outside the classroom is pretty interesting. After receiving her Bachelor of Science at the Universidade de Caxias do Sul in Brazil, graduating as a mechatronic engineer, Nadja moved all the way over to the beautiful land of Portugal to pursue her master's in automation, instrumentation, and control. 1 year and 20 courses later, Nadja began her thesis, which would later become a very important landmark in her career. For her thesis, Nadja was commissioned to develop what is called a supervisory control and data acquisition system for total intravenous anesthesia by using target-controlled infusion. What a mouthful. But to put it simply, it's a program that can control the level of anesthesia injected into patients automatically. You see, usually during an operation there is an anesthesiologist by your side at all times, keeping you doped up and under so you don't spontaneously wake up. Nadja's software was commissioned to replace the bedside anesthesiologist and give the patient the exact amount of drugs necessary consistently over time, with very little risk of overdosing or underdosing the patient. When Nadja finished her master's, the software she developed worked, but not automatically. There was no control. As she put it, quote,
"So in the end of my master, they came to me and they said, well, what about you to continue your studies and do your PhD? So then you have time to actually do the control part, because now you have to control, you have to teach the software how to administer the drug to the patient, right? We need this to be done. What do you think about that?" And then I said, well, PhD is just for smart people. I am not smart, so I'm not gonna do it. They're like, no, you'll be fine, you can do a PhD. And I was like, okay.
After 5 long years of development and some previous trials on mice and rabbits, it was time for the program to be used on a live human being. Tension was high. There was lots of yelling for levels and concentration by the doctor, and constant feedback from Nadja, who was keeping her eyes on the monitor, displaying her program at work. There was risk of overdose and underdosing the patient, but due to the hard work of everyone involved, Nadja's program worked and the patient lived. After Nadja's successful project and receiving her PhD, she was offered many research jobs all around the globe. But I think you guys can figure out where she went next. Oh, Canada. So Nadja went to Toronto to work at Sick Kids. There, she spent 7 years working on mathematical models that take into account the effects of drugs on tiny, tiny, tiny babies, so that the infusion pumps that are linked up with her program can administer a mathematically perfect amount of drugs that will not kill these babies. Because when you need at most 13 infusion pumps for a Smurf baby, imagine the damage if something went wrong. 7 years later, Nadja got a job offer to come to UPEI, and after 20 interviews and 17 years of studying, Nadja had become a professor at UPEI. Dr. Bresson now does some really substantial work on heart rate monitors for animals, space gloves, and probably my favorite, a heart rate monitor for oysters. Yeah, Dr. Bresson is pretty cool.